This technology could change the world.
I'm not one to gush, but the possibilities of your consequence-free reality are darkly promising.
So stoked you guys liked it. I hacked it together last summer and I just guessed right on a lot of the details. But if you think that was cool, wait till you see our final hardware, which is en route from China. It's gorgeous.
Well, enjoy it while it lasts, just because, this could be a tough business.
Is it? So, Richard, you want to try the demo?
No thanks. No, I'm not a VR guy.
Richard doesn't like things that are cool or fun or taste good.
Plus, it makes him queasy. He has a sensitive constitution.
Nah, come on. You're gonna do it. Look at him. He's gonna do it. It's gonna be awesome. Come on. You're doing it. Come on, come on. I got After you.
All dressed up. You dressed up for us.
I gotta compensate for all the flip-flops and Hawaiian shirts I wear this season, so I'm doing suits this week, yeah.
Welcome. Well, I shouldn't say welcome. I'm not on the show, but it's wonderful to have you on Silicon Valley, man.
Thank you. It's been really fun being on it.
How did this start? Did they contact you and say, we got this character for you, we want you to play, we think you'd be great?
No, I just went out and auditioned for it last year, actually. Like, they just had this short little scene where me and TJ meet in the coffee lounge. And just got in, then went to the table read, and they had all the scripts, and got to explore this VR guy and all of his stuff.
Did they give you any examples? I mean, I wonder how much, for people who come on as like a reoccurring character and not one of the regulars, how much they give you in terms of like background of who this might be based off of, or people that you can sort of look to as influences.
I think they do a really good job of not having too many one-to-one representations of people, and thinking of characters like Gavin Belson and everything, or Peter Gregory, where they have some Steve Jobs in there and they have some Steve Ballmer, but the actors and the creators of the show really made the character its own thing, and I sort of tried to follow that model there, where we were familiar with the VR world, but we wanted to find an original thing for Keenan to do. And I think the fun sort of kernel of character that they designed for him that was really fun to run with is that he's a guy who just wants to feel good all the time, and he gets confused when he doesn't feel good, and he has hundreds of millions of dollars to help him go kite surfing for a month until he feels good again. So yeah, it's just that kind of guy.
He's a bit of a bullshit artist.
Yes, yeah, and he's sort of self-aware about it. He ends up telling Richard, I have this weird thing where I get people to do what I want and they don't even know they're doing it. And it's an odd power for him to have, and he tries to use it to his advantage as much as possible.
Right. People want to make him happy for some reason, or they feel like they're going to be made happy because he's so happy.
Yeah, and he lives in like a grown-up, playhouse, with the kegs of beer and the heated floors and everything. So he even manages to get, Guilfoyle on side. So, right. Yeah.
So what's it been like joining the show with this cast who's been together now for like 4 seasons, 3 seasons?
This is the 4th season, yeah. It's crazy because I, have always been a big fan of the show. And when you go onto something that you've been watching, you don't want to mess it up, or you want to sort of integrate into the show in the correct way. And they just made it such a comfortable and fun experience because they're all such nice guys. They're all so good at improvisation that it's very fun to be on camera and off camera with them.
Have you done that before? Gone into a show that you weren't on, or that you were a fan of?
This is kind of the first time that I've done something like this for a series where, when I was a kid, I came in as Murphy Brown's son in the last season, but that's a little bit of a different situation. Yeah.
There was no cast members jealous of you?
No.
Who's this new kid?
Yeah, she thinks she can have a son now? Actually, that's what Dan Quayle thought, so.
I remember that was actually just referenced in something recently.
Really?
Like a podcast that I was listening to. Someone referenced like right-wingers being very offended that Murphy Brown was like a single mom or something like that.
That was the problem in the 90s, yeah.
That's like beyond my years. I remember Murphy Brown, but not that plot line specifically.
Yeah. Well, I also went through a time warp because the kid was a baby in 94, and then in 98 I was 11, so they just kind of sped up time so that she would have an 11-year-old, but yeah.
That wasn't your first. What was the other sitcom that you were a regular on?
I was on Thunder Alley with Ed Asner. That was my first television show, and then I was on Jeff Foxworthy's sitcom.
Oh, it was Jeff Foxworthy's sitcom. I can. For some reason, I thought it was Grace Under Fire, but it's Jeff Foxworthy's sitcom. Sorry. What was that like? What was it like doing a sitcom at that time? Because that's a completely different thing for a child actor than I think doing a movie is, where a movie, several takes to get through it, it's you and a crew. A sitcom, you are doing theater acting in a lot of ways.
I suppose so. And there's the aspect of having a live audience, which is really cool. And it's still this way with most multicam sitcoms, where you have a very regimented schedule where you rehearse Wednesday, Thursday, producer run through Friday, camera rehearsal Monday, and then a live show every Tuesday night. At least that was our day schedule, and that was really exciting. And it's comic timing and everything kind of gets drilled into you when you have that sort of repetitive system. And it was good training, And it's very different comedy than this, where this is a single cam and a lot of improv, and it's cool to have seen both sides of it.
So you're doing a lot of improv on Silicon Valley?
Me, not as much as the other guys. I'd actually everybody's hysterical. The person who I had the hardest time keeping a straight face with was Zach Woods, because he just puts the darkest little one-liners, right at the tag of every scene. And when we get them into the pajamas, I don't think this made the show, but he kept saying right when we finish the scene, he's like, yeah, as soon as they get you out of your clothes, they can do anything to you. And you're like, just this weird stuff. So yeah.
Him and Middleditch are big improvisers, and they're amazing at it. I always wonder if they ever feel like, I know that the show lets them do their own take here and there, but and the writers are unbelievable, but those guys can come up with some amazing stuff off the top of their head.
It blows my mind. If you haven't listened to Thomas on Comedy Bang Bang on his appearances there, it's just incredible what he can do. And with Kumail and TJ with stand up, there's that great clip of TJ just riffing on or just wailing on Stephen Tobolowsky for being old for like 5 minutes with one-liners. So it's a good video too. Yeah.
With your knowledge of that, loving Silicon Valley and referencing Comedy Bang Bang, I'd imagine are you kind of a comedy nerd? Do you listen and watch a lot of comedy?
I do watch. I listen to some podcasts. Like being on Comedy Bang Bang was a big jumping off point for me, because I'd always loved the podcast, but then getting to know those guys and doing a couple episodes on the podcast myself, it's a really fun time for that type of comedy, and they've been really influential all across the spectrum.
And you were, it's not necessarily that type of comedy, but it's in the same world. Was the show that you did on IFC, right?
Yeah, that is its own tone. When we did The Spoils of Babylon, we did 2 seasons of that series, this bizarre mini-series that I wish we could shoot all year long, because it's so much fun to do.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? What was so much fun to shoot about it?
They, Andrew Steele and Matt Piedmont created the show, and it's based on like Dallas and all these old sort of campy 70s. We were an oil baron family in the first season, and the example I always think of is Andrew Steele was in this barn in somewhere in New England and found a mannequin, and he texted a picture of it to Matt Piedmont. He's like, "This is the show that we're gonna have. This is gonna be Lady Anne, this character that Tobey Maguire marries on the show." And it's just like really bizarre and campy, and getting to improvise with Kristen Wiig and everything is a pretty good day at work. So
yeah, that's the thing. You said you normally don't improvise that much, but you're improvising when you do get to do it with the absolute best.
Yeah.
That there is. Does that make you better as an improviser?
Exactly right. Yeah, the people who are that good, it could be nerve-wracking, but it's not, because they lift up everybody else around them, and it's just they propel the momentum of the scene so well. It's a joy.
Now, Keenan Feldman is, as much as he's a joyous figure, he is a bit of a bullshit artist, and as we see in the last episode last week, kind of an opportunistic scumbag in some ways.
Yeah, there's more of the story to be seen, but no, and is somebody who can really screw you over, but doesn't even realize that he's hurt somebody. And the contrast between Keenan, who didn't really have to work that hard and became fabulously wealthy, and all of these guys who've been working hard for years and years and years and really haven't seen the fruits of their labor so much, it sort of makes him dangerous, because he doesn't realize this one thing doesn't work out, and it totally screws them. But it's just what was best for Keenan at the moment.
Well, I'm wondering if you saw any similarities between Keenan and your character in Entourage.
I think
a bit more malicious, maybe.
Yeah, and the Entourage character, Travis, was a little bit more insecure and would lash out at people and didn't have a lot of friends. And I think Keenan thinks everybody is his friend, so is a little bit more, the things he does that hurt people are not as intentional as Travis's. Yeah.
Which is kind of a first for Silicon Valley. I feel like they have lots of wealthy people who are extremely insecure despite their wealth and end up lashing out at people, like Gavin, like Stephen Tobolowsky's
Yeah.
character. Whereas your character, they found a spin on it where he is, like I said, we have this moment where he doesn't get what he wants, and he kind of just sits back and takes it. He doesn't think about how to hurt somebody else because of it.
And he is so in the moment. Like when Richard doesn't give him the deal, and he's like, oh, what is this feeling like? Something happened that I didn't want to happen. Like that never happens to him. And in the final scene when he's going like, I was feeling sad, and then I was feeling mad, and then I had a sandwich, and I was feeling okay again. Like it's just like sort of like moving from emotion to emotion like that. Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't think I've
his
ever met
entire
somebody like
life
that
can
before.
be lived in the moment because it's so entitled, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have a couple other shows that you have coming up. One is a pilot that's on Amazon right now that people can go check out. That's called Oasis, I believe, right?
Yes, it is. That's on Amazon right now, and you don't need Prime to watch that. That's based on the book, the Book of Strange New Things, and it follows a colony about 20 years in the future. Earth is sort of things have gone south here, and human beings try to colonize other planets. And Richard Madden, who's the lead, is a minister who is summoned up to the colony by this billionaire for mysterious reasons. So
What do you
play a weed farmer who is arrested, and it's sort of like the England in the 1700s, where you could choose to go to jail or go to the dangerous colony and try and survive. So he goes up as the botanist and tries to help out in that way.
And what attracted you to this project?
Well, one, it's shot in South Africa and Namibia, so that was quite an adventure. We were there last fall. And the exteriors of the colony are in these, the Namib Desert, one of the oldest deserts in the world, just these rolling dunes and nothing is alive.
That's where they shot Fury Road, right? Mad Max.
That's right. Yeah, they were out there for a lot longer than us, but that was there too. And I think the Mummy, the Tom Cruise one, was out there too.
Oh right, they were here last week. They said that they had shot.
Oh really?
There. So do they have basically like I don't imagine they have like full studios built now because of those two movies, but do they have essentially like a working infrastructure for shooting?
There's a lot of stuff going on there now, and I guess you wouldn't call them studios or sound stages, but we shot in Cape Town in this like 2,000 seat movie theater that had been repurposed for our interior of the colony and everything. And they were enormous sets that we could. It's fun when you can get completely swallowed up by the set, and it's not just one wall or something, but it's completely immersive and it's something you go into.
Like a fake New York City apartment that has moving walls, or like a cityscape painting behind it.
With a sort of trapezoidal open fourth wall, yeah.
And you have another show on Hulu that you're doing that is produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, right?
That's right, yeah.
Future Man. He told me all this in the green room. I just want to be fully transparent.
Well, it helps me
here.
practice, get the synopsis right. That's a really funny show. Josh Hutcherson plays a loser janitor by day, and by night he is a top-ranked video game wizard, and people from the future contact him through the game and tell him he has to help them save the world from this apocalyptic thing in the future. And I play his high school bully, who is now a big shot pharmaceutical company scientist who continues to bully him as an adult. And as he begins to travel through time, weird stuff happens. So.
That sounds amazing. How did you get involved with this?
Well, we shot the pilot like over a year ago. I auditioned for that one too, and just we shot it in an actual depurposed medical facility in Valencia that still had all the equipment there. So there was like vials of young rabbit's blood and chloroform and big freezers that still had samples in them, and we didn't know what they were. So they had set up craft service in one room, and I was like, I don't think we should eat in this building. Like, there was a thing on the wall that said bloodborne pathogens medical kit, and I was like, all right, let's not get any
cheese bagels,
bloodborne pathogens while we're at work.
That's so cool. What's it like working with Evan and Seth?
They're the funniest guys. They directed the first couple episodes, and it's just the show. The concept is really interesting. It's recognizably Seth and Evan's work, but it's such a high concept deal, and they make it. It's just really, really funny, and as they travel through time, like the possibilities for the characters are sort of endless.
You have had. It's funny to hear you say that you audition. Do you like auditioning, or is that?
It's a good way to stay sharp on things. Just with certain shows when they are not sure what they're looking for yet, it's an interesting process to make strong choices for the character. Like for this, like I only had that one scene with TJ to work from, and you just sort of have to make a decision and go with it, and it's good when it works out.
Now, is auditioning something that you developed sort of after early on in your career? Because you reached a sort of piece of fame at such an early stage in your career, where I'd imagine like you're not really auditioning that much at that point.
I auditioned for all those though, yeah.
But even when you're auditioning for those, as a child, do you know that you're making a choice in terms of like how to do the performance? Like, or did you go into your audition for Murphy Brown and say, I think this guy's a little cocky?
Certainly the characters, when you're older, are a little bit more complicated. I mean, I wasn't playing a lot of villains when I was 9, although that would have been fun. But
Problem Child 3.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was still sort of the same thing. My dad is a theater-trained actor, and he ran a theater on Santa Monica Boulevard in the 80s. So even auditioning for those things early on, like it was about studying the script and obviously memorizing the lines and everything, but just sort of learning the technique early, too.
Do you find that your technique changed and grew as you got a little older?
Absolutely, yeah. And I went to school right over there across the street at NYU. I studied experimental theater, and that was a big decision to leave Los Angeles and come here for what ended up being 5 or 6 years of school, because I was taking breaks to do projects sometimes, and learning the theatrical techniques. And ETW's sort of godfather was Jerzy Grotowski, so learning his physical-based character work and everything, like it just sort of stretches you as an actor. So it's like learning an instrument. You can always learn more about it for your entire life.
So what made you choose experimental theater?
They place you at Tisch. So they have the I think it was like 8 or 10 different studios, and you can circle the ones that you gravitate towards, but they end up placing you. And people do end up transferring, but they certainly chose right with me. And it was cool because I'm seeing a lot of classmates and friends that I made there now show up in these shows. Like my friend Sarah Sutherland plays Selena's daughter on Veep. And then Olivia Sandoval is Carrie Coon's new police partner on Fargo. So it's just, the class has really been doing well.
It's so funny. I recognize those people. I mean, I watch those shows.
Yeah. Oh, they're great, aren't they?
So when you left school and you did some projects while you were at school, you decided to go back and make movies again. Did you feel like you were starting like from a different place?
In some ways, because when people really identify you with a character that you played when you were younger, that is a process of performing at a different age and everything. But I'm not. I'm really proud of those roles, so it wasn't something I was trying to get away from.
They're like legitimately great movies.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not like the actual Problem Child actor. You were in great movies.
I didn't do Problem Child 3, so that was good. But in a way, it's also kind of an advantage because when I did Entourage, for example, I had a lot of people say like, "Oh, I didn't even know it was you until the credits." And like as an actor, that's really fun when that happens, when you can really disappear into a character, and that's still the process I'm going for now.
Do you feel like when you first came back and you were cast, there was like an element of, because people knew you so well as those characters from those movies when you were younger, there was an element of almost like stunt casting that you had to sort of act beyond almost?
Yeah, I think there would have been some pitfalls for playing roles that were too similar to those, I haven't done a horror. Well, I did Tusk. That was a little bit of a different horror movie than The Sixth Sense. But yeah, trying not to repeat yourself or to lean too heavily on people's knowledge of the past roles it's a delicate dance. Yeah.
It'd be so strange to try to repeat The Sixth Sense or AI. They're so unique. They're such unique movies.
Yeah, there was talk. It wasn't Night, but there was talk of doing a sequel to The Sixth Sense, and luckily everybody said no. So.
There was talk of that. Really?
Probably just a rumor, but nobody would have wanted to do that. I don't think.
I want to see that just to see it like be colossal.
I would not want to see that.
I would feel bad for you. It's like something that for me as a viewer, like, what are you guys gonna do here?
Yeah.
It's a very well told story wrapped up. There's no need to bring it back.
Yeah.
Let's get some questions from the audience. Who do we right here?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I was just wondering, even throughout this conversation, you have played so many different and unique characters. Which ones were your favorite?
I would definitely put AI high on the list, just because it's such a luxury when you're working on a Steven Spielberg movie, because you have all this time for preparation. We were out at his house in the Hamptons. Me and Jude were rehearsing with Steven and doing laps around his pool, trying to get the robot walks in sync and everything. And I learned to scuba dive before we shot that movie, and then the entire process was like over a year that you get to spend with this character and this team. And it's just I learned so much on that project, and it's really great to work on such a giant production sometimes.
And you see that with his movies too. I mean, not just with AI, because AI had a massive budget, I think, even for Spielberg's movies. But even a movie like Bridge of Spies, which came out a couple years ago, is probably one of his more low budget films. Still,
and Lincoln in a way
budget.
too. Yeah, like I remember him saying on set when we were doing AI, he was like, I've always been interested in the idea of doing like a really small movie sometimes. And I think those probably qualify as small a movie as he can do.
But even those, you see an element of craft and time put into every shot and scene that you don't see in any other movie, I think. And I think that has to do with him being a great director, but also I think what you're saying, a fair amount of time gets to go into every scene.
Oh yeah, it was incredible to watch his ability to focus on all the different aspects of the production at once. We had like 5 sound stages going. ILM was inventing new techniques of doing the graphics. We had Stan Winston's team doing the robotic bear and everything, and he just very calmly and smoothly manages this gigantic operation 24 hours a day. And I learned a lot as an actor on that project and from the material, which was really complex. But as someone who wants to direct something someday, like the way that he tells stories and seeing that up close, in Bridge of Spies, like that first chase scene, and in AI, lots of sequences, just the way he puts you into the situation, just perfectly manages suspense and all those things. It's just incredible to watch.
He's one of the few directors I find in sort of like mainstream big budget movie making that each scene you can still kind of be like, oh, that shot's because of this and this shot's because of that, and it leads into the, like, you can actually sit down and analyze each shot. It doesn't feel like he threw up 4 cameras and cut it all together.
Well, and it's like, after you've seen Jurassic Park 20 times, you can start to think like, okay, like what is he doing right here with, in the T-Rex scene and everything. And it's just, I'm amazed by the fact that he was editing that movie while he was shooting Schindler's List at the same time, and is able to do those 2 completely different films simultaneously in a way. Like, he's something else.
Imagine the headspace to have to get in and out of for that.
I think the story is that he was watching a lot of Seinfeld to like cheer himself up at the time too.
Next question.
Hi, I'm not sure you can answer this question, but is Gavin...
It's a challenge.
No, I'll ask it anyway. It's almost like it foreshadowed Travis leaving Uber for a while. Is Gavin Belson going to be coming back next season?
I don't know. They are just writing season 5 now. I know what happens this season, and there are some surprises to come. But I've been saying this week. Like, we're lucky that it's not Game of Thrones, so they don't murder everybody at the end of every season. So you see, Russ Hanneman pops up again. Like, all these people are popping up again, and I hope that perhaps Keenan will pop up again.
You have 1 or 2 episodes left of the season.
2 more episodes.
2 more episodes.
The next Sunday is the Hoolicon episode, which I'm personally looking forward to a lot because it's really, really funny.
Have you seen it?
No, I was just on set, and so there was stuff I didn't see them shoot that I'm really excited to see too.
Oh, awesome! I can't wait for Sunday's episode. Next question. This is the last one.
Hey, Haley.
How's it going?
So I know, like, now you're doing. You said, you enjoyed doing Spoils of Babylon and Dying, which I loved. And with Silicon Valley now, did you want to go into doing more comedy, or was that something that just kind of happened? And do you enjoy it more, or do you approach it differently than any other roles?
With comedy, sometimes the best way to go is to prepare the character the same way that you would for a really serious dramatic movie. And I remember, I think the first time I saw someone articulate that was when Sam Rockwell was talking about Galaxy Quest, when he was like, I played that character completely straight. He was like, I was crying on set, terrified that I was going to get killed in every scene. And it makes it hilarious because he really is believing the situation around him. So I kind of try and go for that with this, like to make Keenan not, and they don't write him like this either, but they don't make caricatures. They make people who seem real. And as to your question about what I would prefer to be doing right now, it's just a great time for comedies. So yeah, like with Spoils, that's not a project I think that would have gotten made 10 or 15 years ago, and with that cast, and it's just with streaming and everything now, there's the opportunity to do a lot of really diverse stuff. So
I love what makes the character so 3-dimensional, and how great of storytellers they are in Silicon Valley is the twists and the angles on Keenan, right? So we see him as this exuberant, happy guy, and then like 2 episodes later, we realize he's that way because nothing ever goes poorly for him.
Right.
And then we have all of a sudden have a juxtaposition of him with Richard, and that makes your character even more fully formed. They're such smart writers, you know?
Yeah, they are. Mike Judge has just seemed to know the truth about everything going back a couple decades. Is always like from Office Space and Idiocracy. Like he's just a really really sharp guy. And with the show, like it's frustrating for these guys because every time they get close to the goal, like some unexpected thing kicks them down. And I think the way Mike described it in that New York Times interview recently was that one of the central questions of the show is whether the hippie-ish Steve Jobs mentality or the new money libertarian, the younger mentality is going to prevail in technology, and that remains to be seen. So I think that's really wrapped up in Keenan and Richard's relationship too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my money is on the new libertarian.
I think so.
It's hard to beat that much money with the hippie ideals.
You see, Jeff Bezos' tweet the other day, like, "And I have suggestions on what to do with all this money that I just made this year."
Did you see that? Did you see someone retweeted it with just unionize Amazon? That was kind of my favorite response to that.
Gets right to the point.
And then someone else, because he bought Whole Foods today. Someone retweeted it and put like short-term philanthropic projects, long-term control the food supply for everybody in the world.
I saw somebody be like, "Alexa, buy me something from Whole Foods." Buying Whole Foods. Someone else's tweet. I don't want to take credit for it.
Him just so wealthy and be like, "Yeah, sure, that.
Yeah.
I'll just do that.
We can roll with this.
Good idea, Alexa." Haley, I love Silicon Valley. I love seeing you and everything that you do. 2 more episodes of the show, Sunday and the following Sunday, plus Future Man coming to Hulu soon, and Oasis, the pilot, which is on Amazon right now. Don't need Prime to watch it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Haley Joel Osment, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
So much.
Thank you. Nice talking to you, man. Thank you.